I'm sorry, what's your request, Mary?
57, resolution.
Okay. And that's to appoint Mr. Moore as the JIF commissioner?
Yes.
I move that we do that.
Second.
Is that 56 or
All in favor?
57?
Aye. 58, appointed in the JIF claims coordinator. Necessary motion.
I make a motion to appoint Mr. Moore as the JIF claims coordinator.
I made the necessary motion. Are you gonna
Oh, I
second?
thought you said someone make a motion, sorry, excuse me. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 59, to appoint the JIF EPL contact person.
You make a motion?
Somebody make a motion.
All right. I'll make a motion to appoint Judd Moore as the JIF EPL contact
Now,
person.
this Mayor Venezia is the person for that one.
Oh, sorry.
Why? Is there a statutory requirement that it be the mayor?
No, Mr. Olson had it before. So, I don't know who to play, it could be any of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna decline that and I'm gonna give it to,
We would have
Ms.
to
Master.
contact.
Ms. Master.
What are you giving me? I'm the JIF EPL contact person?
It's where all the lawsuits come from.
What? It's where all the lawsuits come from?
I didn't mean to, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
That means you're the contact person for the EPL, the Employment Practices Liability Insurance Company, to communicate with.
And who brings me up to speed on this?
Your Labor Council will help you.
Okay, who's that?
It really is not much to
There's not
handle
much to
here.
do.
Right.
Oh, okay, okay,
You're well suited for
Larry paid up.
Easy assignment.
Yeah.
It's just our title.
okay.
Yeah,
In the event.
yeah. Ms. Owen made the motion, is there a second?
For Ms. Masker?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll make that motion for Ms. Masker.
All in favor?
Wait a minute.
I need a second.
Discussion first. Let's do this, we're gonna do this, let's do it with eyes open. Ms. Masker is filling a vacancy until the day, presumably until the day after the general election in November, when the person who wins that seat for the final year of Mr. Olson's term will assume the seat, and Ms. Masker will step down until at least reorg in January. And so we would then have to appoint another EPL contact person for that period.
That's true.
So is it wise to do that? Is it wise to make it Mrs. Masker at this time? Or is it better to make it someone else?
You want me to do it? Do the other two?
You thought this into it. You want to amend, somebody want to amend the motion?
I'll amend my motion to appoint Mr. Moore as the JIF EPL contact person. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next we have the,
No, wait a minute. So Mr. Moore is the primary contact person and the secondary contact person is me? Is that, or is it someone else?
I didn't name a second person.
Yeah, it is. It's in
Oh,
the-
it does say that?
It is in the resolution.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, you would be the second person.
I remain the second person?
Yes.
Okay.
As a member of the Personnel Committee.
Right.
Okay.
next we have 60, participation with Municipal Drug Alliance with the University Township. Didn't we already vote way back in the beginning of the year that we were
Yeah,
going to be
I think we
standalone?
did.
And how did we,
You did, but the
Yeah.
lady came to me from Univista and said that this is a standard resolution that has to be passed by June 7th because apparently the committee is meeting and this outlines the actual money that's involved, so that's why. Because you already did vote to go in with
Yeah,
Univista,
that's
but
what
this
I
is
thought.
like more of a detail.
I make a motion, we adopt resolution 60-2021.
Second.
Mr. Dilch,
Yes.
discussionable purposes. Didn't we already vote to go standalone?
I think that I agree with what Mr. Moore said, what we voted was our intent, this codifies it.
But we already did a resolution to be standalone, so now we would have to do a resolution to rescind it. We can't do a resolution on top of the resolution.
No, I don't, standalone, no, I don't think we did resolve the standalone.
I think we just discussed that. I didn't think we actually voted on it.
I think we did.
Ms. Blumenthal suggested that we,
From my time.
I mean, that's, That's where this came from, as I remember. She did the research.
Can you take a break for a moment? But you're still drinking water.
Dehydrate me.
Yeah, she did. She said, that's right, that's what we,
But there was nothing going on because of COVID.
stay out for a year.
I don't wanna see that.
No.
He's talking about something.
So, how about if, and we gotta do this tonight, right?
Yes. My
So
strong
can we just-
recommendation that we go along with this Buena Vista to get this thing going here. Apparently you did it before, and this is the detail, and the lady's adamant she wants to pick this up tomorrow. But if you really don't want to do it, then I'll tell her no.
Well, we're getting funding for it, so let's just move forward with it and be done with it. And if we have the
Right.
ability to amend it at a later time, Mr. Lafferty, we can do that,
Well,
correct?
you can, and if this conflicts with a prior resolution, the later resolution controls. So you're essentially, there
And
was,
that's a legal opinion.
that's a legal opinion. Last in,
That's what we're paying for, right?
Let's vote.
All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Moving down the line here. Mr. Moore, you gonna make it, or should we continue?
No, I'm okay.
You okay? Want another order?
I'll be through 62 and 63.
Motion, we adopt resolution 62-2021.
Second it for discussion.
Discussion.
It's really just an action of merging the two policies together because it's redundant and unnecessary.
Actually,
Exactly.
no, it's the removal of the one, Mr. Dills, and quite frankly, as my recollection is, that was adopted in 2008. Mrs. Garrett was on our city council at the time. She never remembered that we did vote on that. I never remembered that we voted on it, and Mr. Baker was on our city council at the time. And he adamantly swears that he does not remember that we ever voted on that.
On what?
On this supervisory personnel policy. Not only that, but the auditor never knew that we had it. And if anybody would know that we had it, it would be the auditor firm.
Well, Jim,
So what are you saying, we should just refuse to recognize it?
Well, I've always questioned how that became a resolution that was approved.
Well, I mean, if
But
we're
the
acting
reality
right
is,
now,
I
we're-
think that what we ought to do is just simply keep the one personnel policy rather than having a his and a hers policy. And just total elimination of this supervisory resolution,
I thought it was.
or our personnel policy.
I thought it was requested by JIF that we did this.
No, Judge brought it to my attention and I agree with him. First off, we don't have any supervisory people in our building over here.
That's not true, we have Mr. Cornell. He's considered a supervisor.
He's a part-time employee. It's only for full-time employees, supervisory brought people, because that's how that personnel policy read.
It doesn't, I mean, to the extent that it's past practice that we work out of these manuals, it's important, especially if it's the suggestion of the labor attorney, it's important that we take this action.
So
The
what are you
labor
saying?
attorney suggested
I'm
it?
saying let's move to adopt the resolution 62-2021 in keeping with,
And Mr.
The
Blaney
guidance
actually
is-
suggested to me that we should remove it as well.
well, this is what
Mr. Deutsch
we're,
just
said.
we're doing what he asked us to do, what he guided
That
us
is
to do.
correct. But what
Okay.
I'm saying is, I just never understood how that ever came to be, that policy, that policy was created, and that there was a resolution that was done on it.
So how are you influencing the vote?
I'm not influencing the vote, I'm giving you some comments.
You're just
about-
giving us some historical perspective?
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, Mrs. Kent treated that policy as being in effect. And why she treated it as being in effect, I don't know. But
Well, let's take a vote then.
Let's take a vote on it.
Let's vote it.
But one other final comment is, we had a previous city clerk who never received any of those benefits. And she was here for a number of years, and she never received it, and it wasn't until there was a change, and all of a sudden, this resolution was discovered.
She didn't have the benefit of the his and hers arrangement?
No.
Let's get on with it, let's get past this,
But
please.
you all agree that you wanna get rid of that.
Yes, so
All
let's
right,
vote it, let's take it
let's
to a
vote
vote.
on it.
Just eliminate it.
A duplicitous policy
Roll,
manual.
roll call on this one.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Ms. Sparks,
Yes.
Ms. Basker,
Yes.
Mayor Vinesia.
Yes.
Okay.
Mrs. Master,
Get
just
yours now.
for your own purposes, in the event that you have any questions that you don't seem to necessarily understand, we will pause to catch up to speed with us, okay?
She's been zooming it, she's up to speed.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, moving down the line here, we have, 63, to read the budget by title. Did we already do this, Jeff?
We already did it for the introduction. I talked to the auditor today, and she suggests that we do it again because we did not vote on the budget at the last meeting. We just had the public hearing. So this is more or less just to cover us, just in case the state does ask about it.
I make the necessary motion, as a second.
So it's a reintroduction.
All, roll call on this one, please.
Mr. Dilch?
Yes.
Ms. Owen?
Yes.
Ms. Sparks?
Yes.
Ms. Masker?
Yes.
Mayor Vinesia.
Yes. When we do roll call, it's always got something to do with expenditure of funds. That's why you have to do a roll call. If it's just something that we all agree to, maybe not necessarily agree to, but it doesn't involve
Just when he
funds,
wants to,
then it's just,
he stated, he just,
yeah. Okay, next is the adoption of the 2021 budget. 64. Somebody make a motion?
have you gotten guidance from the state yet?
Does somebody want to make a motion?
Is there guidance from the state yet?
I guess we don't adopt the budget tonight.
If we don't adopt the budget, then we're gonna do estimated tax bills, which is gonna hold up our tax collection process. We went through this during the COVID, and it's just a pain for municipalities not to be on time. So it's in our best interest to adopt our budget.
By the way,
Well, we needed
Mr.
prefacing,
Moore is the one that put this on the,
we needed a prefacing remark to move us, because last time we left it at, nobody's adopting, or so many are not adopting a budget, and Trent's kind of lending forgiveness, waiting for the state to set its budget before we bought into their budget and found funding and all that kind of, so you're making the statement now that getting our tax bills out accurately and on time is more
Yes.
important than, we've kind of, Trenton's calling our bluff, we gotta.
We don't know what Trenton's gonna do, and I talked to the auditor today, most of her towns are adopting the budget, there are some that aren't, but when you don't adopt a budget and the tax bills are due, there's a certain 45-day period that starts sometime in July, then we're gonna be behind, and that means that we're gonna do additional work in the tax office to send out all these estimate bills, and then we have to set a percentage, and then when the people get the tax bill and the percentage is off, when we send out the accurate tax bills, then they call the tax office, why did my taxes go up? It just creates additional work. So we've already been through this process, that's just,
so,
Thank you for that, Craig.
yeah,
So-
that's,
for, once again, edification purposes, it was in today's paper, and if I'm wrong, it was yesterday's paper. The county is not gonna adopt their budget until they know what the state is gonna, say what they could do with their $52 million that they've been allocated, which means we're still not going to have an accurate tax bill.
I'm hoping that they'll make a decision real soon, because when they do that, they're gonna hold up every municipality in the county, it's 23 municipalities, I don't really see them doing that.
But there was already, they've already tabled it, they're not gonna adopt their budget until they know what Trenton is gonna say that they can do with that money. That's gonna, and quite frankly, we're the least amount of the pie. It's the school, and then it's the county.
Yeah.
We're the smallest slice of this pie for taxation. So,
I make a motion to adopt the budget for 2021.
Thank you.
Second.
is there any discussion on the budget? We've had it in our possession for a while.
Roll call.
I in fact actually have a discussion. I believe that having a 3-cent tax increase was not a very prudent thing to do to our residents, especially just as we are trying to dig our way out of the COVID problems with lack of funding for a lot of families. Secondly, when you take a look at 3 cents, it's it's what, 13 cents equals a penny?
I think it was around 15.
It's 15. So we just turned down the opportunity where we could have sold land and gotten $34,000 for it, but we didn't think that was a good idea. And that could have certainly helped to absorb the tax increase. So therefore, I'm voting no. I'm voting no. We actually, in fact, could have reduced the budget and made it flat. The council chose to increase taxes, and I thought that was a terrible idea.
Leaving everyone
Especially
else
at this
to
time of
hold the bag,
junction,
Let
like
you hold it
all the
off.
families that in fact are still having a problem with it.
or you hold off.
Okay, let's vote it.
It was a roll call already. Roll call?
Yes, Mr. Dilge?
Yes.
Ms. Owen?
Yes.
Ms. Sparks?
Yes.
Ms. Masker?
Yes.
Mayor Vinesia?
No.
Okay.
Moving down the line, we have department reports. We're gonna hold off on them because I got a thick packet tonight as I walked in, and I didn't get a chance to read through any of that. So we'll have this for our next meeting.
No, I'd like to give, given the change in zone and how zoning information is forwarded, I'd like to give a zoning report, since I've been the clearinghouse for zoning for since the last meeting. I don't know that, have you been reading my reports?
Your zoning reports,
Yeah.
I haven't received them.
Well, I've been emailing it to you
I
on a
haven't.
weekly basis. So the high points are, the work that was begun, the illegal, as I understand it, reported illegal demolition that was performed on a house on 9th Avenue, has caused all the permits on that project to be pulled, and then it'll have to go to zoning to be able to do anything with that place, moving forward.
They didn't take out a permit to demo,
No, they did not.
demo that property, that's the old Goodman property?
Yeah, so that's, all work has stopped there and the permits have been
Wasn't
received.
that the ultimate goal of what was supposed to be accomplished, if we wanted the building taken down according to the zoning officer?
I don't know.
It was supposed to be, they had state permits for reconstruction.
They got roof trusses on the property.
Yeah, but they're gonna stay on the ground for a while. But anyway, the sixth, what's happening on Sixth Avenue, the property owner was given 30 days to come into compliance with the zoning officer's instructions. And it'll be heard again in court at the end of this month. Zoning officer got a letter from Pinelands permitting motocross activity at private residence on Route 50, and they also permitting a home to be built there, and the owner pulled a building permit to put up a house.
The Pinelands gave the applicant permission to have a motocross track.
We have a letter that says so.
I did not see that letter. I'm just hearing about this right now. How did they get permission when that's not a permitted use to do that? Pinelands, right?
Pinelands gave permission. They told them there's some trees they wanted to plant.
There was supposed to be 6 acres of reforestation of area that they cleared out that they never had permission to do. That's all been done.
They got a letter from Pinelands that says they can have a private motocross track on their property, not a commercial facility, but they can have, they got permission to use the motocross track that they put in, regardless of our objections.
Regardless of our objections. So, we could object to going to 65 feet with a gravel pit operation, but we can't object to whether we want to have a motocross track in town.
Mayor, I don't know. I'm just telling you what.
I mean, we just had a presentation from a Mr. Romano, and there already is a Pinelands law that says you can go 65 feet, but we have an ordinance that says that you can't do that. But now we're being told that we can't do anything about having a motocross track? I don't like the sounds of this.
I don't know what, the first thing you said was, you're out of touch with what's going on there. So
Well, I'm not
I
being
don't know what to
notified.
tell
How
you.
can why am I not being notified?
Didn't you bring it to Pinelands to begin with?
Wayne did.
By your, as a product of your instruction.
There was no instructions. He was to look into it, and he received a number of complaints from a number of residents, and he acted on it.
I don't
And
know
you were
what-
you actually even instructed Wayne at one time. I haven't talked to Wayne about this issue in a long time, about enforcement. I asked him what is going on with it, and that is it.
I don't know what, I'm telling you that he reported to me, he got a letter from Pinelands that says that the motocross track is a permitted private use, and the property is approved to have a house put on it, and he issued a permit to the guy to build a house.
And I saw a letter a long time back that indicated that they can't do no activity of no kind whatsoever until they restore that 6 acres that they cleared out.
Well, then, you know, I don't know what to tell you.
And that's the last of them knew about anything with that property. They were ordered to restore it to its original condition. Did they do that?
So Pinelands trumps zoning, local zoning?
Not necessarily so.
Well,
no.
zoning doesn't necessarily, we don't have an ordinance that would prohibit the use, and even if we pass one now, the use has already begun, so they would be grandfathered, for lack of a better term. I believe we were relying upon Pinelands to find it as not permitted use so that they could shut it down and lend some relief. What did you call it, an attractive nuisance? Lend some relief for the neighborhood. But Pinelands went the other way. And they went out, the way it was explained to me, they went out and met with the guy and chatted it up and told him he has to plant some trees, though the way it's been explained to me, it really, what he had, the plantings that he has to do is no big deal. And,
So what about all these out-of-town trailers that are there on weekends?
I don't know what to tell you, but I'm just telling you what.
They're all friends, right? They're just friends.
I'm not his partner. I never met the man.
Don't shoot the messenger.
I'm just telling you the zoning officer told me.
I'm gonna call the state and say she's harassing us.
It was something else. I sent you a written report on all this stuff.
I did not receive it, Mr. Bill.
It's to jvenezia@estellmanor.org, where I told you I would send it. I sent you 5 or 6 emails in the last 30 days.
You did not say that that's where you're sending it to. You never said where you never
I
said anything
did.
about the.
I told you that at the conclusion of the last meeting, I was gonna send you a test email immediately, and I did that.
Holding the seat.
And you didn't respond to it, you haven't responded to any emails I've sent you since.
When you send it to my other email address, I do respond instantly. You didn't send it to
I will
me.
not send anything to you at any email address other than jvenezia@estellmanor.org, same as the rest of you. We've been cautioned on this too many times.
Irregardless of, what you're saying, I don't understand how we have no say in the matter about what they do with that property. In other words, once again, if the state says you can go 65 feet for the pit, and we say you can't, you can only go 32 feet, you can't do the same thing here with this, huh?
You have an ordinance.
But you said there is no ordinance that says they couldn't do it.
Yeah, you're talking about the presence of an ordinance versus the absence of an ordinance. We don't have an ordinance about this. You instructed that it be brought to the attention of Pinelands, and it was, and this is how Pinelands acted. Did we give them any supplemental input?
No.
I would like to see the language in the Pinelands Comprehensive Management Plan that indicates that that's a permitted use.
I don't know what to tell you about that.
I would
Anyway,
love
that's
to
what
see
the
that.
zoning officer reported.
I'm sure there's several residents in our town who can be very, very upset over that, and one of them in particular is actually in this room tonight. And I could just see the anger that's venting at them.
Are you just gonna open up soon?
Yeah, we only have a couple more.
Okay.
Actually, we only have one more thing. That's, there's the issue on 7th Avenue East has been resolved. 9th Avenue, 6th Avenue, motocross thing, that's it.
So we have no old business, we have no new business, it's really, we have the appointment of council person, which is Mrs. Masker, who's taking care of that.
Well, no, dumpster day is still June 5th.
Right,
Yep.
what time did you tell them that we're gonna start?
Generally, that's from 8 to 12.
Did you tell them that?
I didn't call them today on it, no. And when I called them yesterday, I got the voicemail.
Okay, so you're gonna tell them from 8 to 12?
And there will be an announcement announcement that'll go out to the public.
Make a motion to open to the public?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mrs. Garrett?
What do we do now? We sit there and we have to listen to these motorcycles that are right in my backyard. I have to hear it. And I think it's outrageous that the council didn't get on these people right from the start. When I sat in here with Ann Dowling and we asked you to please do something about this, please. And you looked at us like we had two heads. Nobody wanted to push and do anything about this. Now it has gotten so out of hand, and it's like, I saw the letter from the Pinelands. I saw that letter. He didn't replace no trees. He planted dead cedar trees right in that front field there. Dead cedar trees. He made another track and he planted dead cedar trees. And what did the Pinelands say? Any trees that die that he plants, he has to replace them. Did he replace them? No. He does whatever he wants, and the city lets him do what he wants to do. For what? Because he's got money? Because he knows people? So he's allowed to do whatever he wants to do? It's ridiculous. It's horrible what we have to sit and listen to on a Sunday afternoon. It's terrible. And this city, just like everything else, does nothing for the citizens. Nothing. Just like Mrs. Faith, just like Mrs. Robinson, when she had a treehouse put up in her yard for her little grandson and was told to take it down. She couldn't have a tree house in her yard, but he can have a motocross? Come on. Is there something wrong with this picture? 2 weeks before Mrs. Robinson died, she was crying to me about how they made her take that tree house down from her grandson. They took it away from her, from them. That is outrageous. But this man could come in there and he can just turn this city upside down, and he can just do whatever he wants. And you just roll over, and you just let him do what he wants to do.
Well, I understand your frustration. I've been over and visited with you once myself.
Yeah, I know you have.
And I will tell you that the city has, it was by the city's intervention that Pinelands became involved. Further, the River Council on behalf of the city took a position against it.
Right.
Irrespective of whether he's got money or not, I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. If we've got the law on our side, we've got the law on our side. The way that it has fallen, and as we understand it so far, he has the law on his side. There's not really anything we can do about it, except as it relates to the noise that he makes.
The city is not pushing. They're not pushing. He's pushing you, and you're not pushing back. You're letting him do what he wants to do. You're letting him. And he's just doing whatever he wants to do. Whatever. You listen to 10, 20 motorcycles racing around in there. There's not 1, 2, 3, even 5 motorcycles. There's a lot more than that in there. And I can see it if I walk in the back. If I walk in the back of my son's property where Ann Dowling used to live, I can see those motorcycles right through the trees there. I can see them.
Yeah,
So we have to, so it's like, oh, well, okay, he's allowed to have those motorcycles. He's not just having a few motorcycles. He's not.
Oh, you can go on Google Maps and look at
Oh, and I
satellite
have.
picture of the place. It's crazy.
And I have. And he sat here crying at that one meeting, crying because, yes, brought his son here, and he sat here crying like a baby because, oh, they were going to make him not be able to have it.
I wasn't here for that.
And as I have said to you Kathy, I know you well enough where we could talk on a first name basis. You actually heard here at this table how I was instructed, do not get involved because you're gonna get the city sued, do not touch this under no circumstances. And I was told by even a couple of members of council, back away from this. It's out of your hands and we'll handle it. And I'm so surprised to hear now how it has been handled.
I'm gonna